Really quick before the video starts, this channel is not gonna be gaming focused. I do commentary videos on everything that I think about. And so the algorithm actually picked up the skate video I did, which is amazing, but I'm kind of scared right now that I'm gonna be played out to the wrong audience that doesn't actually want to see commentary and only want to see gaming. However, I still really want to do this review, but just be aware, I'm not a pure gaming channel, so that's that. Alright, so a few days ago I booted up Crysis Remastered. Not because I'm a huge Crysis fan though, but more because I just wanted to give the game a chance. And it's definitely one of these games that I had on the list for ages now and just haven't started them yet. But obviously as a PC gamer I know the name Crysis, and I kinda knew what it's about. Like, it's an open world shooter game with pretty crazy graphics for the time and pretty good physics, which in itself sounds like a game that I would play actually. Like, I love myself a good open world game with good physics and good mechanics and stuff. And back in the day I played Far Cry 3 when I was in like 4th grade, and I loved that game and I really played that a lot. And honestly, as someone who never played Crysis and had no attachment to that game, it kind of remembered me of Far Cry 3. Just because, like, open world, there's outposts for the enemies, you're on a jungle island, you know? But don't get fooled by that because it's its whole own game. And we'll get to the story by the end of the video. By the way, this video has chapters, so if you wanna just listen to my opinion on one specific thing, you can use the chapters down below. However, I'd be really happy if I'm able to keep you watching the whole video. Alright, so let's start with gameplay and mechanics. For me, honestly, like, one of the most important parts of a game. Like, you could hand me the best story game that I will ever play. If the gameplay and the mechanics are off, I cannot play that. I'm a PC gamer for most of my life. Before that I played PS3, and I actually recently got back to the PS3 because I wanted to set one up for my mom to play on, which she didn't want to do because it runs every game at like 15 FPS, so that sucked even for her. And when I tried playing Need for Speed Carbon on a fucking PlayStation 3 controller, bro, I'm not even kidding when I say it felt like I had a fucking stroke. It felt like mouse acceleration on the analog sticks. It just felt very off. Like, it was very bad. But Crysis Remastered on the PC, honestly, like, it's very playable. I would even say it's pretty good. I wouldn't say it's perfect. There's some things that kind of annoyed me. Like, for example, you cannot switch if you want to hold the mouse button to aim or if you want to press it to aim. It just does both. So it detects if you hold the button, then it will unscope once you release it. Or if you click it one time very quick, it just switches the scope mode. And so you can't really quick scope. And that's just something that kind of annoyed me over time, but whatever, it was still very playable. I would say there's nothing too big to complain about here. All in all, I would just say the settings are pretty minimalistic, which in 2025 kind of felt off. Like, nowadays every game has like thousands of settings you can change. And as someone who played Arma 3, actually I kind of enjoyed the take on very minimalistic settings, but for some things, you know, it's not cool if a setting is missing. But yeah, gameplay and mechanics, I would say, is pretty good. Now for mechanics, you have these abilities like stealth mode, which makes you invisible to a certain point. You have this like tank mode, which makes you like have more armor. And then there's speed mode, which is basically just if you sprint, it activates speed mode instead of you just sprinting. But yeah, pretty cool. I got used to this stuff pretty quick. Pretty cool to use. However, with the stealth mode, I missed a takedown. Maybe I missed it. That's coming to my mind just right now. Maybe it's like an extra button you have to press for a like stealth takedown. But even with the silenced pistol, if you shoot while in stealth mode, your stealth mode gets deactivated. So it's still very doable to do stuff in stealth, but in my opinion, this could have been way better. Like, give me a takedown action that keeps me in stealth mode and allow me to at least use my silenced pistol in stealth mode and, you know, stay in stealth mode. But other than that, I would say, you know, it's fine, nothing to complain about. Let's go on. Very quick, I just noticed I forgot to mention this in the beginning. In the gameplay that you're watching in the background, you will notice that I'm in God mode and my energy is sometimes not even draining, and if it drains, it recovers in like a split second. That's because I played this game with cheats. And that's because I did not plan at all to play the story of this game. Alright, so the background story is I just wanted to play the game to try it out in the beginning. That's why the intro stuff is not in the gameplay here. But I played the first like 2 to 3 missions, I think, until you get to the school part where you have to save someone. I don't even know, I don't even remember. Until that part I played like normally without cheats, and then I wanted to get back to it and just fool around, you know, mess around with the game, open world, just like digitally kill some people in a video game, YouTube. And that's why I had cheats on, because I didn't really meant to play through the game. But then I just got drawn to the missions and I kept on playing, and we'll come to that later at the story segment. But just so you know, yes, I cheated in the gameplay. For me, it's not a big deal. If it is for you, then I don't know, go cry about it. It's a single player story mode game, so shouldn't affect you too much. I just wanted to clarify that. Anyways, let's talk about the graphics of this game. And now this is the remastered version that came out in 2020. So there's not really a weight to judging this. because it's literally like a remake or a remaster to be, you know, exact. It looks great in my opinion, okay? Now, there's games that look better, of course. I think actually Far Cry 3 looks better, for example. But honestly, I like this game and this, you know, graphic style. I like that way more if it's coupled with a good game than the new Assassin's Creed. That's like the last 5 Assassin's Creeds, but it looks a bit better. I don't give a fuck about that. Just give me a better game. And so again, if the mechanics were a bit better, like a bit more modern, a few more options here and there, you know, maybe some smoother animations, that game would be absolutely perfect for me. Because again, the graphic for me is completely fine. Now maybe there's people that go around and say, well, that texture is not 8K. But that's not me, right? I don't fucking care. I don't give a shit. The fact that there's no FOV slider in the game annoyed me way more than the fact that the textures at some points might not be way up there. So yeah, graphics, 10 out of 10. Fine for me. I don't, you know, it's completely fine. It's good. It looks good. So, check mark. Let's go to the next one. Okay, because this is Crysis we're talking about and it's such a huge thing for the game, you know, everybody talks about the physics in the game. I'm gonna make this an extra topic. Now, the physics in this game are really cool, and if I look at modern games, I'm really asking myself, where the fuck did we go wrong? Because if that's the physics level of a game that came out in 2007, what the fuck are game studios doing in 2025? Because if I showed this to someone, right, this game, and I show them how I drive a car through a hut, then I pick up a roof panel from that hut and kill someone with it, and then I tell them that game is from 2007, they will be like, holy shit, so are we down to like molecular levels of simulation nowadays? No, the fuck we're not. We're not, and I don't get why, because this is amazing, right? And honestly, every game should have just built off of the physics that were there in Crysis 1. And if games would have done that, today we would have amazing games, I guess. But no. We have the 5th Call of Duty that's the same as the last few games, but now you can play as a rubber duck. Thanks, EA. Really, thanks. That's exactly what we want. And I say that as if I was a part of the COD community. I'm not. I stopped playing these games when you had a jetpack and all this shit was futuristic, because that's not you know, I hate this. I don't like this. Alright, so now let's get to the big topic, right? Probably some people skip to this point. Well, you missed a lot with the video. Please go watch the rest if you want to. Now the story, I'm not quite sure. I don't want to like just say one word and have that describe the whole story because I think that's dumb. But let's say it like that. I sat down on my PC and I just was like, okay, what game can I record to get some background footage for my videos? And I was like, well, let's continue Crysis. It was kind of fun last time, but I'm gonna put on cheats just so, you know, I can get an like arcade style gameplay with no struggles or anything, right? So that I can have a clean gameplay for the background of a video, and that's it. And normally these recordings, I do like 20 to 30 minutes because that's like enough for 1 or 2 videos. Well, I sat down and I started playing, and I actually pretty quickly just continued the missions because it's like the system of how the game feeds you the story is like, it didn't really feel like a open world game in a sense of like there's a mission part and there's an open world part, because the game just throws you from mission to mission, right? It's not like GTA, and that's what I was expecting, right? I was expecting there to be mission markers that you have to enter and then a mission begins. That's not really how it works. It felt more like the game was one huge mission, but in between some parts I would like travel from one point to the other. And so I just kept on playing the story, the campaign, and I played it for 3 hours and then the game was done. The credits rolled. And I was like, well damn, I just played through Crysis. And so I don't really want to judge the story in itself because I'm not good at this, right? I don't play a lot of story games. I'm not a huge story guy because most of the time when I watch a movie and the story is really, really good, I feel different after that movie for like a few days. And I don't like that. If I watch a series and I'm really into it, like into the characters and stuff, it will really impact my feelings. Right? And I don't like that at all, because it's either I don't like the movie or series or whatever, and so I don't watch it, or I get way too emotionally attached to the characters. Now, the last time that happened, like I watched something that I was really interested and invested in, was when I was like 16. So maybe it's a thing that was like when I was in puberty, because hormones and shit. I don't think it's as bad nowadays, but still I'm not a huge story guy. That's what I'm trying to say, right? So yeah, I can't really judge a good story and a perfect story, right? I can probably tell a really bad story, but yeah, Crysis story is good, but for me the fact that I just kept playing it and I lost track of time and I just played the whole game through, to me that's a good story. And even if we ignore that, like the whole storyline, I think it's a good story. That's the end of it, right? However, there's a huge but here, and I'm not talking about Kim Kardashian before she hit the system reset button. And I already said it, and maybe you catched it. I played through the whole game within 3 hours. Now, mind you, I already played the first like 3 missions off cam, but that doesn't add too much. So maybe it's like 3.5 hours, right? And yeah, that's also with cheats, but still. I thought the story was really short because, and you know, there's gonna be spoilers, but obviously there's gonna be spoilers. I didn't put a disclaimer on this video that there's gonna be spoilers because if you're stupid enough to click on a Crysis review video, which has a story segment where I review the story and you think you're not gonna be spoiled, you don't belong on the internet. I'm just gonna say it, right? Sorry, but Jesus. Alright, so at the end of the story, the like last segment is on this boat, on this warship. And when I entered this boat, right, when I got into that last segment, I was like, oh cool, so we're gonna fight the monsters now, and they're probably gonna come back because I saw footage where people walked around the island, like just in free roam, and there was these monsters on the island itself. And so I was like, okay, cool, so now we're gonna like try to fight them, but it won't work, and we go back on the island and then actually fight them. Okay, cool, I'm stoked for that. And in this segment, you also get introduced to a new weapon, which enables you to destroy like huge alien monsters. And there also I was like, okay, cool, so now I'm gonna get better weapons step for step, and at some point these aliens will be nothing to me and I can just kill them easily. Well, that didn't happen. So at the very end of the game, you're on this boat and you, with some help, kill this huge alien like spaceship or destroy the alien spaceship. And first of all, I gotta say, now I don't want to get political on this channel, right? But it was so refreshing seeing something that badass in a video game. Like that whole scene, you're seeing it right now. This shit is just amazing. I know this is the remaster, but like damn, that whole fight definitely made it in my top 5 of epic moments in video games. But let's get back to the story aspect, right? So you destroy this huge spaceship with this new like mini nuke launcher gun that you get, and then the main character goes onto the helicopter that your teammates are on. I think it's this one like doctor or professor, this one woman, I don't know, and another guy. And the main character, like yourself, he says like, we know how to destroy these things now. And I forgot to mention this, but there's Prophet, which is another like soldier who before you tried to nuke the island, he flew on there, and so you thought he's dead, but he's not. And so at the end, okay, let's get back to the main point. At the end, you destroy this thing with this new gun, you get onto the chopper, you lift off, and then you get notified that Prophet is still alive because he contacts you, and the player character even says, we should go back there and kill these aliens because now we know how to fight them, so let's go. And I'm sitting there like, fuck yeah, let's go, let's kill these aliens, let's finish this game. And then the credits roll, and I'm like, what? It's like, we're in the middle of the game. How do the credits roll now? What do you mean credits? What? It literally felt like I was in the middle of the game right now, and then the credits just rolled. So I googled if that's the real ending or if I have a cooked version of the game, I don't know. And that's the real ending. And I found out something even worse. And that's that Crysis 2 does not begin where Crysis 1 ends. So the story that is not finished is not gonna be finished, at least not in form of a video game. I read somewhere that there's like comics that tell you what happens next. They fill the gaps, right? But I don't know, that really sucked to me because I'm not gonna go read some comics, and I was just left on this cliffhanger and I couldn't even go, okay, so I'm gonna buy the next Crysis game and, you know, finish this story because it doesn't exist. Crysis 2, from what I've read, plays in like the same universe, but way later. So the island never comes up again. And I was so perplexed because I've never seen or heard anything like that. I've never heard of a story game, which in my opinion, Crysis is mainly a story game, right? Again, like Far Cry 3, that just does not finish its story. That's insane. And it's not like one of these scenes where it seems like everything is done, and then in the last frame of the movie, like someone opens their eyes or something glows or something. So you go, okay, there's probably gonna be a next part to this. No, the characters literally imply, the whole game literally implies that you're now gonna go back on the island and fight the aliens for real this time, because you tried to nuke them and it didn't work. And so you can't even argue with, okay, you're just stupid. No, it literally made it seem like it's gonna go on, and that's just the middle of the game right now, like a turning point. And so that, it really annoyed the fuck out of me. Because again, if Crysis 2 would start right there on this helicopter flight and we would just finish this story in Crysis 2, it would be fine, right? That would not be a point then. this whole point that I'm trying to make would not matter at all if Crysis 2 would do that. And to be fair, I haven't double checked, I haven't started Crysis 2, but I'm just gonna trust because everyone says that. Crysis 2 starts later and the island story is just not finished. It's just left there, hanging on a cliff like a cliffhanger does, I guess. And so yeah, that was my experience with Crysis 1, or the Crysis Remaster to be exact. And I have really mixed feelings because the game itself is great, especially for the year. Like, I guess the original one was just the same game, but it looked a bit worse. But I guess the physics, the story, the weapons, it's all the same. And so that's a banger game for 2007, definitely. But I just cannot comprehend how someone would get the idea of, hey, let's make the player feel like they're in the middle of the story at a turning point, and now they're gonna kick these aliens' butts with a new, like, nuke launcher they have and go find their buddy they thought was dead 2 times. Let's make the player think that in the middle of a helicopter flight after the most epic scene they've ever seen in a game. But then we just roll the credits and we do not continue the whole story. We just let him sit there. That's an amazing idea, right? Dude, who signed that? There were multiple people. There were a lot of people involved in this game that were like, that's a great idea, let's do that. So yeah, I'm really disappointed with the end of the story just because it really got me. Like, again, I'm not a story game Andy, and I played through the whole game in one sitting. So at the end, I was really interested in what's gonna happen next. And right when I was getting interested in it, it just ended and never got continued. So yeah, that really sucked. I don't like that aspect, but other than that, great game, you should definitely go play it. However, be aware that the ending is fucking disappointing, in my opinion at least. However, that's gonna be it for this video. I hope you liked it. Definitely go down to the comments and let me know your opinion on the game and your opinion on my review here. Also leave a like to support the channel, subscribe if you don't want to miss the next videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye.